Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the podcast. My name is Toby,
And I'm Seth.
and we are the SwineyBro.
We welcome you to the SwineyBros podcast.
So, there's been a lot of action going on in the NFL this week. There is much to discuss, much to go over, lots of injuries, lots of news in general. Seth's got quite a bit to go over as well, so I'm going to let Seth start the show on all the news happening around the National Football League.
Okay, well, big week for injuries. Big week for injuries. The two most notable injuries would have to be Malik Neighbors tearing another ACL injury against the Chargers. Season-ending injury. I hate to see that for Malik Neighbors. And I know Giants fans hate to see that too, especially with them overthrowing the Chargers and with their new quarterback, Jackson Dart. Another notable injury, Tyreek Hill has to undergo season-ending knee surgery to repair a dislocated knee and torn ligaments. And I saw that, and it was terrible. His leg was like bent the other way. It was awful. But, I mean, he took it like a trooper. In other injury news, Jaden Daniels has been medically cleared by doctors and will practice fully and looks to be on track to play this week. Bucky Irvin is dealing with a foot sprain. He was spotted yesterday at practice on crutches and in a walking boot. They don't think it's going to be a long-term injury, but he is considered week to week at this time. The San Francisco 49ers. Man, the injury bug is ever present in this team. Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall, and Juwan Jennings have all been ruled out for Thursday night's game versus the Rams. So no... Man, they were just running on empty. And then for the Carolina Panthers, for the second straight day, their running back, Chuba Hubbard, has not practiced due to a calf injury. It is similar to the one that he played through last week, but worse. But wait, there's more. The Grim Reaper is coming back to Arizona for more. They have placed running back Trey Benson on injured reserve due to a knee injury. So we've already lost James Conner there in that Phoenix offense with the ACL injury. Now Trey Benson is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks after undergoing an arthroscopic surgery on his meniscus. So that will pave the way for Michael Carter and Mr. DeMarcado. So, man, rough for running backs in the Cardinals right now. And then right now, I'm not really sure the extent of this injury. I couldn't really find anything that was really more than this. But Lamar Jackson has not practiced for 2 days in a row over his hamstring injury. If he does not play Sunday, then the Ravens will be starting quarterback Cooper Rush in his place.
Cooper Rush. That could have been Shador Sanders of all the people, but went to the yucky old Browns. Just to add one last little tidbit of breaking news. It's not any injuries, at least. Thank the good Lord for that one. Dylan Gabriel has been named the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco will be the backup, and Mr. Sanders himself, talking silently to the reporters, will be the third string quarterback. Cleveland Browns, the quarterback killers themselves. So I think that covers all of the breaking news of the week. At this point, we might as well name it the MFL and just call it the Medical Football League with the amount of injuries that we're having. This is getting tough.
Going into week 5.
Who would have thought that if you looked at fantasy football and seen all these injuries? At this point, just pray and hope that your team can actually pull through and do something, because hanging on by a thread, a lot of these people. A new topic that I wanted to do at this point in the current state of the NFL, just looking at the NFL standings. We won't dive too much into this, but I wanted to find out for both of us. I'll let Seth go first. Who is the current, after 4 games, who is the best team in the NFL, and who is the worst team in the NFL?
Well, there's only 2 teams that are undefeated right now that have not lost a game, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Buffalo Bills. Everybody else has lost a game. However, that could go either way. Both of these teams are contenders. The biggest problem that I have with the Buffalo Bills is their receiving core is not the best. Neither is the Eagles. It's kind of tit for tat there. But both teams coming out of the game, I'm going to have to go with the Buffalo Bills right now with the number one team. They've had a pretty strong schedule so far. Not like they've been playing a bunch of cupcake teams, and they're still proving that they are elite status. They're looking a lot like the Buffalo Bills did in 2020, coming out the gate strong, and I think that you're going to see big things for Buffalo for the rest of the season.
Okay. Definitely a great pick overall. We know how good the Buffalo Bills are. MVP status of Josh Allen doesn't go away for any reason. He's still Josh Allen. He is still that elite level quarterback. But I don't have the Bills or the Eagles as the current best team in the NFL.
Wow.
The current best team in the NFL, in my opinion, after they got sucker punched in week 1, is the Detroit Lions.
Good pick.
And it's obviously much too early to tell anything. Oh, Super Bowl winners or who's gonna finish regular. We're not doing any of that. I just think right now, based off caliber of opponents and everything play, I don't think the Eagles have had a strong enough schedule, and I don't think the Bills have had a strong enough schedule yet, other than the Ravens game, obviously, to really be like, oh man, they just look like clear front runners. But the Lions have got down in the trenches. And I know they lost to the Packers, but I really do think if they played the Packers tomorrow, they'd destroy them. I really do. So I had to go with the Detroit Lions as the current. It's very close between the Lions and the Bills. They're both right there. I got the Eagles at a solid third. I haven't seen enough yet.
It's really hard to argue with that.
The worst team in the NFL. Oh, man, this one's fun. I had to think about this one for a little while, and I almost picked the New York Jets. But I can't. I have to go with the clear front runner for a team that just looks terrible. You can ask the quarterback himself. I had to go with the Tennessee Titans. It's tough. It's tough to be a Tennessee Titans fan right now, but Cam Warden said it best. They're just bad. They're just bad right now. The New York Jets are also bad, but the New York Jets have had close games. The Tennessee Titans fighting themselves to even make it close.
Well, you got 3 teams that have not won a game so far. You got the Saints, the Jets, and the Titans. And I'm going to have to agree with you on the Titans just solely for the fact of players. The Jets, it's not that the Jets haven't been coming to play. And the Jets got a lot of talent on that team. They just haven't had everybody to mesh. They have a lot of great, talented players on that team. So theirs is not really a talent issue. And I don't know that I would even say that it's a coaching issue. I just don't think that they've been able to just get that chemistry because a lot of their games has been really close. The Saints, I would put the Saints in between the Jets and the Titans just because, player factor. They've got more options, more weapons there. They're not in a great place, but the Tennessee Titans are just in a complete rebuild stage right now. I think they made the right choice with Cam Ward. But they need some wide receivers. Calvin Ridley is just not being that veteran wide receiver that they need him to be. Tony Pollard can only do so much. He's a good running back, but he can't carry the team. So I would have to agree with you on Tennessee and just hope that, Tennessee fans are going to have a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel come draft time next year.
I don't know what's going on with Calvin Ridley, dude, but like every game I've watched, well, okay, I won't say every game because I don't really watch the Titans. But every game I've seen, Calvin Ridley drops a lot of passes.
Mr. Cinder block hands.
I don't know what's going on with him. I haven't
definitely not the same caliber that he was in Atlanta. That's for sure.
Hopefully he figures it out. Hopefully he gets going because it's been rough. It's been rough watching that because even coming into the season, you remember you had high hopes for Calvin Ridley. So did I. It was like, wow, they're signing veteran. They're going to give Cam Ward that like clear number 1 target. You've got Pollard coming in. But their offensive line has been pretty bad. Their offensive line, I don't care how good you are, like I said. If you don't have a good offensive line around you, whether you're quarterback, running back, I mean, look at the Ravens. No offense, but like Lamar Jackson's like the fastest dude in the NFL quarterback position, other than him and Justin Fields, and he's still getting sacked.
Got 7 sacks. 7 sacks last game against the Lions.
You gotta have a good offensive line. And if that means you gotta take a pay cut, go the Tom Brady route and take a pay cut. Take a few $100,000 off. Offensive linemen are at least paid people in the NFL. Take a few $100,000 off your contract and get some good offensive line. So you heard it here. The unanimous worst team in the NFL is the Tennessee Titans. So I think the best team in the NFL is the Buffalo Bills. No bias involved. And I think it's the Detroit Lions with a clear close for the Buffalo Bills. Moving on, though, to, of course, the Old Faithful. A goodie, a classic. Makes you feel good in the tummy. Our games of the week. Let's go over our 5 games from last week. And boy, there was quite a lot that happened in these games. I'll let you go first.
Okay, before I get started on those, I was really confused because I never got the memo about the overtime change. So I'm going to go over that a little bit before we go into our games. So the NFL did change its regular season overtime rules for the 2025 season to match the overtime rules for the playoff format to ensure that both teams get a possession, which is fair, totally fair. I was just really blindsided by that. Like, whoa, what's going on? Why is this game not over with? Why is it still going on? So what has changed is both teams are guaranteed a possession. So how the new overtime works is they'll have a coin toss to determine which team gets the ball first, like always. Both offenses will have an opportunity to possess the ball. If the game is tied after both teams have had a possession, then it will go into the sudden death factor and the next score will win. And if the game ends in a tie, then after the time has expired, then it is ruled a tie. So I didn't catch the memo on this somehow, so I just wanted to, put that out there for everybody else in case there's some other people that didn't get the memo like me. So my number 1 game of the week, without a doubt, is the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. Like I said last week's episode, the History Bowl. 2 historic teams taking it on. 40-40 rolled a tie from overtime. I mean, what a game this was. Going into halftime, 16-13 Cowboys, and it's like, okay, here we go. Third quarter, both teams scored 7 points. The fourth quarter, that was where it got crazy. But just for some stats here, Jordan Love put up 337 passing yards for 3 touchdowns. Dak Prescott, 319 yards for 3 touchdowns. They were just about equal for the rushing as well. Josh Jacobs with 86 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Javonte Williams, 85 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. The only difference between those 2 gentlemen was 2 carries. Josh Jacobs, 22 carries. Javonte Williams, 20 carries.
Solid.
George Pickens, you saw the emergence of George Pickens in this game. 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. George Pickens is good. He's not elite, but he is good. And here's my thing, and I'm not bashing anybody, but if the Dallas Cowboys played against everybody like they did against the Packers, where they involved everybody, like everybody was getting action. You had Javonte Williams running the ball. You had George Pickens getting catches. You had Tolbert getting catches. You had Ferguson. It was everybody. Where am I going to? You don't know where I'm going to. So, that was really cool to see. And that's something I don't understand. Like, you've got people on your team, use them. And when you do, you get results. But just a crazy game. Packers were able to. I really thought the Packers were going to lose because going into the fourth quarter, Dallas had taken the lead by 3 points, 37-34. They only had 43 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Kick the ball off to the Green Bay. It's like, oh gosh, what are you going to do in 43 seconds? Like, they happen to get down the field. They're able to drive down the field and get the game-winning time field goal there to go into overtime. But what a game! Game of the week without hesitation.
40-40. How often do you see a scoreline like that? This was also my clear number 1 game of the week. I won't jump too much into the stats. That was very well covered, very well said. I think we're starting to really see the major problem with the Cowboys. And it's not talent, it's not ability. And when you take playing their rivals and you take them playing like they do against the Packers, against the Giants, this is very clearly not a talent issue. This is very clearly a headspace, a mentality issue. If you can come in, like you said, and play against everyone the way you do against the Packers and against the Giants, or you go and lose 31-14 to the Bears and you embarrass yourself. You play the Eagles hard. You play the Packers hard. You play the Giants hard. Why aren't you doing that every single game? And truthfully, you can't just blame it on coaching, but that does really boil down to your head coach. And if your head coach fuels that mentality and your owner fuels that mentality and the organization as a whole fuels that mentality, you'll see it. But if it's only, well, this is a big game, this is the History Bowl, we got to come out, we got to show out, and people are thinking we're bad, we got to show what we're capable of. You need that mentality every single day because that's what separates you from being great or being subpar.
I mean, you saw it. You've seen it. They've got the fire. Sure do.
Can they stoke it, or are they just going to keep putting it out? That's the big question mark with the Cowboys. My second game of the week, there was a lot of good choices. Lots of good choices. The only reason I picked this one was because I did watch this one through, and there's that magic that happens for this team that I really thought the comeback was going to happen. I had the Eagles and the Buccaneers. This looked like a runaway game for the Eagles. It was, man, the Buccaneers have won the last 6 of 7. We're just going to show out and decimate them. And they did for the first half. That 65-yard field goal from the Bucs to end regulation was really the highlight of their first half. It was 24-6. Philly looked comfortable. Their defense was firing on all cylinders. They were running the ball well. Not fantastic numbers by no means. Definitely not fantastic numbers from Jalen Hurts. The dude only threw for 130 yards. But the second half really just took off, and we saw the emergence of the Buccaneers. They weren't going down without a fight. 14 points straight to fire off the second half. 5 points in the fourth quarter. They had that safety and a field goal. And it came down to the last possession, all the way to a fourth down play. They couldn't convert it, and the Eagles were able to run away with it. But to me, that showed that the Buccaneers really are a good team this season, a team to be reckoned with, and it still shows that the Eagles are still on that elite status, and they're able to close games out, and that's a big difference between good and great teams, just like highlighting the Cowboys. If you're able to close games out, that shows that you're on that good level. But offensively, not really a whole lot happened on the Eagles side of things. It was very defensive heavy. The receiving side of things, the rushing side of things, Jalen Hurts ran the ball. He was the leading rusher with 62 yards on the ground. Bucky Irving was the clear front runner for Tampa Bay, 63 yards on the ground, but Baker Mayfield threw 289 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, did throw a pick, which didn't really help a lot. I wouldn't say that was completely his fault, but it wasn't the greatest. But still, it was a good game. It was fun to watch, and I think we could easily see that.
Let's not forget about the fake tush push. That was crazy. Like,
Yeah.
you have a play like that in your arsenal that you can line up and fake everybody out like that. Kudos. That was impressive.
Very was indeed. So that Eagles and the Buccaneers, clear second game of the week for me.
That was not on my list. Just like you said, there was just a lot to glean from, and I kind of want to, highlight some different teams every week if I can. If there is somebody that's worthy to be highlighted. My second game of the week was the Colts and the Rams.
Ooh.
Indiana Jones and his mighty Stallions were vanquished by the Rams, 27-20. What a close game this was. And it was really, it just boils down to this was nothing more than just not being disciplined. Not being disciplined. It was 10-13 going into the half. Neither team scored in the third quarter. Colts put up 10, Rams put up 14 in the fourth quarter. Pretty evenly as far as the running backs went on this one. Stafford outpassed Daniel Jones by a mile. 375 passing yards for 3 touchdowns.
That's crazy.
Daniel Jones probably has played his worst games against the Rams this week with 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 262 passing yards.
Not
Which
bad
you
yards.
would think that 260 passing yards would be bad. That's not bad, but compared to the way he has been playing, they really put out his fire of this game. You did see Adonai Mitchell rise to the top a little bit for this Colts offense, but the Rams looked like a well-oiled machine. Puka Nacua. What else can you say about that guy? 170 receiving yards. That's on 13 receptions and 1 touchdown. Catch me if you can. Let me pull this up really quick. I want to give this last little bit of the game here. I had it pulled up earlier. Well, basically, okay, so it's 20-20. Fourth quarter with 5 minutes left to go. It was 20-20. It stayed 20-20 for a long time. Jonathan Taylor got a 53-yard rushing touchdown.
It's crazy.
But there's 2:25 left. Jonathan Taylor got a 53-yard rushing touchdown, but the touchdown was nullified because of a penalty, holding penalty, 14 yards. So that really hurt the Colts on that one. And then, let's see, Tutu Atwell was the man. So Colts couldn't get anything going on that drive. They end up punting it back to the Rams with 1:51 left. First play of the drive, Matt Stafford lines up in the shotgun, passes it to Tutu Atwell for an 88-yard touchdown, putting up the Rams in the lead by 7, 27-20. Then the remaining two drives, it was just a back and forth between both games. Stalemate after that, 27-20 Rams. That was crazy.
Crazy to see indeed. Believe it or not, that game is actually not on my list. Still, fantastic game either way. My third game of the week, if I can get to pull up my laptop, was having a little bit of technical difficulties here. Oh, we'll go back to it. There we go. Was the Steelers and the Vikings, the early game over in Dublin. The NFL's really starting to like these across the sea games, trying to get more and more popularity, I suppose. This was the Pittsburgh show all the way up until the fourth quarter. And I think we're starting to see a common trend in the NFL, which is really happy to see from an NFL fan perspective. We're really seeing that teams aren't giving up. Like, playing the full four quarters, we're seeing that spirit of competitiveness that really, I feel like, it's been lacking in recent years, and it's really good to see. Carson Wentz, man. Carson Wentz, 30 of 46 for 350 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks, but Carson Wentz is like that gunslinger quarterback where if it's a chance, he's throwing it. And even if it's a pick, if it's a touchdown, he's throwing it. Justin Jefferson, 10 catches, 126 yards. Jordan Addison, 4 catches for 114 yards. The ball was getting spread around everywhere. TJ Hawkinson, Xavier Scott, Jordan Mason, everyone's getting involved. And the rushing wasn't terrible. Jordan Mason had 16 carries for 57 yards. Not a whole lot, but when you're passing 350 yards to the air, it was very clearly a pass-heavy offense. Aaron Rodgers on the flip side was just consistent. Only missed 4 passes for 200 yards and 1 touchdown. Kenneth Gainwell showed out tremendously. 19 carries for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. The run game, but oh man, the highlight of this game had to have been the 80-yard touchdown by DK Metcalf. The train himself just running, outpacing everyone off of a simple drag route across the field. Crazy stuff, but the Steelers managed to put out the Vikings comeback, and still, dude, that Vikings defense is a force to be reckoned with, man. If they can get going offensively, the Vikings are a scary team. They could easily turn it around. I mean, 2-2 is not a bad start, but close game. Close game.
It was. That was also on my list, so I'm not really going to say a lot. I had that as my last game of the week. But very close game. I mean, offensively, total yards, there was a difference of Vikings 372, Steelers 313. Time of possession, 7-minute difference, with the Vikings having the ball for 7 minutes more than the Steelers. So, you know, the Steelers, man, you can't snooze on them just yet. Just when you think that they're going to fizzle out, they somehow rekindle that fire and come to the front. So, very good game. Very good game. So, my next game on the list, the upset of the week, in my opinion, was the Chargers and the Giants. Who would have thought that the Giants would have overthrown one of the arguably the best teams in the NFL right now, the LA Chargers, 21-18. Neither team scored at all in the fourth quarter. 0-0, fourth quarter. What a game! Like, I mean, I would not have picked the Giants to beat the Chargers. Chargers have been on a hot streak all season. I mean, and even if you look at these stats for the Giants, they're not even that impressive. Jackson Dart, 111 passing yards, 13 for 21, touchdown. Cam Scatterbo, 79. Darius Slayton, 44. Now you go to the flip side of the coin. Justin Herbert, 203 passing yards, 1 touchdown. He did throw 2 interceptions, though. Omarion Hampton had 128 rushing yards for 1 touchdown. Quentin Johnston had 98 yards, 1 touchdown. So it's not like the Giants are just like, boom, we're going to just knock your socks off. But, I mean, what? 21.
Honestly, I think Jackson Dart coming in and being a starter just kind of lit a fire on this team. I think it was evident in the way they were playing. I don't know why. I don't know what type of locker room environment they got going on, but Jackson Dart's emergence, and like you said, he didn't have like he was good. He wasn't bad by no means, but I think that just kind of lit a fire up. And they're starting to turn into quite the team to pay attention to. I won't really highlight that much because I didn't have that on my list. I did have another game on the list in terms of the terms of this game, it was something to watch. Let's go with the Falcons and the Commanders. 34 to 27. No one had faith in the. Okay, well, let me rephrase that. Unless you're a Falcons fan, no one had faith in this Falcons team. We haven't seen anything hardly this season. They haven't looked good. They got blown out by the Panthers. Why in the world would they come and play the Commanders as good as they did? Marcus Mariota, not a terrible game, 16 to 27, only 156 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw an interception. Michael Penix Jr., 20 of 26 for 313 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he did throw 1 pick. But, oh, man, let me tell you. Fantasy owners of Bijan Robinson, you're eating good this week. 17 carries for 75 yards and a touchdown, and 4 catches for 106 yards. As a running back, I know he's notorious for being that catching running back. Still, as a running back, that's insane numbers. You're talking almost 200 total yards from the ground and through the air. That's crazy statistics.
Running back cut the mustard like Bijan.
Drake London, 8 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. I know a lot of people have been not so happy with his performance as of late. Meanwhile, to be fair, though, to give the Commanders credit, their whole team's getting hurt.
Yeah, they are biting that injury bug really.
It's tough. It's really unfortunate when you look over and you're like, wait a minute, who's Chris Rodriguez Jr. and why is he leading the team with rushing yards? 7 carries for 59 yards. Of course, Krosky Merritt, 7 carries, 47 yards. Marcus Mariota can run the ball. He did have 2 carries for 20 yards. Deebo Samuel, 6 catches, 72 yards, and a touchdown. It was a good game, and it was just back and forth. And those are the most exciting, in my opinion, the most exciting football games to watch is when it's that constant back and forth, high action. Atlanta went up early in the first quarter, then the Commanders scored 10 in the second quarter. It was back and forth, back and forth. The Falcons jumped out, and then the Commanders said, not giving up. 11 points in the fourth quarter. It was just a good football game.
And 435 total yards for the Falcons. Unbelievable. That's a lot. That's got to make you feel good as a Falcons fan. Maybe they're trying to start to shake the rust off and maybe getting that team chemistry. Time will tell. I've got one more game of the week. My other game of the week was Seattle and Arizona, the Battle of the Birds. Buddy, when you see the smelling salt, the crap's about to hit the fan. It's getting real. Jason Myers, 52-yard field goal on the final play, lifting the Seahawks to a 23-20 win over the Cardinals. I mean, it's like, man, what the heck is going on with this guy? Boom! Seahawks win the game! That was crazy. Like, I didn't get to watch it because I was at work. I was trying my best to follow it, just the score. But, I mean, it was really, honestly, it was pretty even for the most part. Sam Darnold, he was 18 for 26 on his passes, 242 yards.
Consistent.
Kyler Murray wasn't as consistent, but he had 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also threw 2 interceptions. Kenneth Walker, 81 rushes. Kyler Murray, 41 rushing yards. JSN had a very slow start. He started to finally come alive third quarter. He had 79 receiving yards for 4 receptions. So that was really good for him. Marvin Harrison Jr. finally came to light this game. He had 1 touchdown, 6 receptions for 66 yards, or 111 yards a reception there. So that's good for them. That was a very, very close game. Those are the kind of games that I like. Especially when it comes down to boom, 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 boom. I gotta get this kick. Give me a smell salt, coach. I need it. Crazy game.
Pure just, I'm that guy moment. That's pure as simple as just no fear. Being a kicker, as much as we do dog on kickers, I mean, a lot of people do. It's easy to do. Being an NFL kicker is still one of the hardest jobs because a lot of times the game does fall into your shoulders. And it's same in college. It's not just we saw Tennessee's Max Gilbert miss the game-winning field goal against Georgia. It's a hard job, and you prep your whole career as a kicker, preparing for those moments, and it's still difficult. Like that is the nerves that these people go through on those stages. And that dude didn't. There was no sign of anything. That man salt, okay, game winner, done, over. Crazy stuff.
So many games this season that has come down to, hey, we've got to get a field goal. We've got to get this to win the game. And, you got that good kicker that's going to be that clutch guy for you. That's what you need to have, somebody that can close it out.
So for my final game of the week, did not have the matchup of the Birds, though that was a strong contender. I always pick one. This wasn't fully lopsided, but it was enough to make this a game of the week for me. I picked the Chiefs and the Ravens. I watched this game from almost start to finish. I turned it off after a while because I was disgusted. I don't like the Chiefs. I hate the Chiefs. I've always hated the Chiefs. I don't like the Ravens either, but I like the Ravens more than the Chiefs. But I still respect greatness when I see it. Patrick Mahomes, 270 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns. A feat he has not done in quite some time. Lamar Jackson, despite his injury, 14 to 20, 147 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. This was a lopsided game through and through. Even the scorer, 17-point difference, it felt like it was a more lopsided game than it was. It was just the Chiefs were dialing on all cylinders. The Ravens' defense, man, is turning into an absolute joke. They can't get anything. Every single week, they're giving up so much on their end. And for all of the Ravens' efforts, for all of Lamar Jackson's efforts, you got to feel for him. That dude is trying his butt off, and he ends up getting injured, which is unfortunate. He's still on a hamstring injury that he's nursing. But the Ravens, man, the Ravens are starting to turn out to be one of the biggest disappointments of the season. 1-3 start. That's never happened in the Lamar Jackson era for Baltimore. And the craziest part is, it's not his fault. This dude's putting up MVP caliber numbers like every single game. He only missed 6 passes this game before he got hurt. I mean, that's just nuts. Like, and most of the time, it's like, oh, yeah, the quarterback, he's falling off. We're starting to see him rust a little. It's not his fault, and that's the thing killer about it. So, Chiefs and the Ravens, my final game of the week.
That was a good one. I'm really surprised that you didn't have. I thought you might have had the Bears and the Raiders on your.
I almost did.
Only so many games and only so much time, unfortunately.
Exactly. So, speaking of time, we're going to move right along for the show, if I can find the document again. All right. Topic number 3. The fun, the gritty, the nitty and gritty. The most difficult part of the week every single time. My predictions were terrible last week, but here we are. Predictions for week 5 of the NFL. Timeout for station identification.
Then let's go ahead. I just want to briefly talk about just who's leading each conference really quick. Division before we go on. After 4 weeks of play, going into week 5. NFC East, clear runaway for the Philadelphia Eagles, 4-0. Nobody's even holding the candle to them right now. NFC North, it is the Detroit Lions with a 3-1 record leading the pack, and everybody else is just about tied. The NFC South, Tampa Bay, 3-1 leading the pack big time, with Atlanta pulling up right behind them. NFC West, it is a 3-way tie right now between San Francisco, Seattle, and the Rams, all 3-1.
Wow.
Go over to the AFC East, Buffalo Bills runaway, 4-0. AFC North, Pittsburgh leading the pack, 3-1. In the AFC South, it's a tie right now between the Colts and the Jaguars, 3-1. In the AFC West, it is the Chargers leading the pack, 3-1, and then the Chiefs and the Denver Broncos tied 2-2. So, go ahead.
Those are Seth's division leaders of the current NFL state. So, the first half of these predictions honestly weren't that hard for me to pick. Second half, oh boy, we'll get there. So, my first 4 games, 49ers and Rams. Same exact thing last week. The 49ers are on death row right now. They just can't function. Juwan Jennings is out. Their 2 best receivers are out. Their quarterback, they tried to rush him back to health. They did. They really did. They tried to get him to start too early, and it was clear. They need to let him heal. They're trying to save their season because they're talented. I get it, but they got to let this dude heal. Mac Jones is capable of winning a football game. Give him the reins and let your star heal. You got to. So, Rams knock out the 49ers here. The Cowboys and the Jets. Just for fun fact, I really did almost pick the Jets, but I can't. I have to pick the Cowboys. I have to pick the Cowboys. After the performance against the Packers, even though it was a tie, I have to go with the Cowboys. I don't even know if the Jets are going to win a game this season at this rate. The rate they're going, it's looking rough. Raiders and Colts. The other disappointment of the season for me is the Raiders. I've got the Colts. Daniel Jones had his worst performance last week. He did, but he's playing a defense that is one of the worst, if not the worst, defenses in the NFL playing against quarterbacks. The Chargers, Justin Herbert absolutely ate him up when I watched that game. The Raiders every single week are giving up way too many yards to the air. I think the Colts run away with this easily. And the fourth game, oh, my beloved, the Broncos and the Eagles. Listen, Philadelphia are the Super Bowl defending champions. I mean, they haven't lost. But, everyone has to lose. And what better time to lose than to lose against the Broncos? Give me the Broncos.
What?
Cakewalk.
No!
Denver shuts down this team.
No.
The Eagles' defense is struggling. The Broncos finally figured their crap out against the Bengals. They understand how to beat the Eagles, and we're going to serve up this Philly team with your awful fan base, your first loss. Take the L, buddy. Broncos all the way.
Okay. 49ers and the Rams. Easy choice. Rams are hot. The 49ers just have too many injuries. I just don't see them being able to produce right now with the amount of people that they have. Yeah. And the way that the Rams played against the Colts, I mean, you can't pick against them. They almost beat the Eagles. I got to go with the Rams. Yeah. Dallas Jets, I wish I could say that was a toss-up, but it's not. Sorry to all my Jets fans out there. I'm pulling for them, but the Cowboys are going to be the obvious winner of this game. They're too hot. They have more talent. Yeah. And they just have a better chemistry. So I went Dallas. And then you said Colts Raiders. You can't bet against the Colts. They had their first loss, but there is nothing convincing me right now that the Raiders are going to be like, oh, yeah, we're going to own you guys. We're going to destroy you. So I had to go with Indianapolis Colts. Yeah. Broncos and Eagles, that was a total fanboy pick. There is no way the Broncos are going to beat the Eagles. Eagles are going to destroy the Broncos. They're going to be like, ow, what happened? Just because they beat the Bengals, that does not mean they're ready to conquer the world. That's only like one of the worst offenses right now in the NFL.
What has the Eagles done this year? They beat the Cowboys and they beat the Bucks.
They're undefeated.
Okay, so what?
4-0.
The Broncos have had a much more difficult schedule than the Philadelphia Eagles.
We shall see.
Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton are gonna fry them. This isn't. No. This is not fanboy. This is stats.
We'll see.
Denver's taking it home.
Moving on, Vikings Browns. The London game, 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning. I chose Vikings over the Browns. I know, like you said, Gabriel's going to start, but the Browns are just lacking in offense. So I chose Vikings. Giants Saints. Here's another winless team with the Saints, 0-4. You don't have that on your...
No, keep going.
Okay. I chose the Giants. Giants came in and overthrew the Chargers. They've been playing decent this season, but with Jackson Dart in for Russell Wilson, seemed to be that poised quarterback. I had to go with the Giants over the Saints. Texans and the Ravens. Not going to lie. This game was really a toss-up for me. Both teams have not really been that impressive. But I've got to go with the Ravens. I think that the Ravens are going to beat the Texans. I don't think this is going to be like a blowout game for either team. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game, very close game. So I had to go Ravens over Texans. And then another toss-up game for me was the Dolphins and the Carolina Panthers. Very close. Both teams are very evenly matched. But I had to go with the Panthers on this one. I chose Panthers to defeat the Dolphins. So there we go.
Okay. Pretty good little run there. Next up, for some reason, I don't know. I'm tired. I'm just going to go face off tired. For some reason, I thought the Giants were playing the Steelers this week, not the Saints. I don't know how that happened. But anyways, I'll just go ahead and say the Giants and the Saints. I've got the Giants. I did have the Steelers.
Steelers are on a bye week.
Steelers on a bye week. Somehow I swapped the Saints and the Steelers. I don't know how. Anyways, the Giants win that game. No discussion needed. The Vikings and the Browns. Listen. I had to really think about this game, and the reason why. Who's the Browns' sole win? It was against the Packers. How did the Browns win that game? Their defense absolutely shut Jordan Love down. Carson Wentz, his play style is somewhat similar to Jordan Love's play style, and I think the Browns could shut him down. I think we're going to see a Giants reminiscent game here where this new energy of starting a different quarterback comes in, this young energy, the spunk, and I think the Browns knock off the Vikings in this showdown of Europe. That's my upset pick. One of my upset picks. Who was your other? Texans and the Ravens. Yeah, this one, I do have to go with the Ravens. Even if they do play Cooper Rush, he came in and he looked good. He only missed 4 passes. Doesn't really mean much because they were already losing. But I do have to go with the Ravens here. The Texans, like we said last time, they just haven't shown us enough to really. We've just been really disappointed lately. Very irrelevant, like down bad tremendously. So had to go with the Ravens. I'm just totally out of order here. Giants, Saints, Vikings, Browns, Texans, Ravens, and you said the Dolphins and the Panthers. Poor old Panthers, man. Just not a lot going. The Dolphins showed me enough against the winless Jets teams to give me a little confidence in them. Not much, but it's more confidence than I have for the Panthers. I think the Dolphins just have more talent right now. I really do. And I do think the Panthers could win this game. I really do. They could pull like they did against the Falcons and just blow out the Dolphins. I don't know. The Panthers you don't know what you're going to expect. I do have the Dolphins edging them out. So for the last 4 games, the Lions and the Bengals. These aren't the last 4 games, is it? There's plenty more.
1, 2, there's 6 more.
6 more. Last 4, I'll say the other 2. Lions and the Bengals. Yeah. The Bengals got blown out by the Broncos. I think the Lions will do the same thing, maybe in a little more emphatic fashion. Give me the Lions. The Patriots and the Bills. Primetime matchup right here. I'm excited to watch this game. I think this will be a super fun game. I think this will be a shootout. But I do think the Buffalo Bills knock off the Patriots here. Drake May can only do so much against Josh Allen. This is like big brother versus little brother right here. Close game, but I think the Bills will knock off the Patriots. The Buccaneers and the Seahawks. This was my hardest game to pick. I think both teams coming in, good teams, solid teams. We've seen enough from both teams to think like, wow, okay, they're going to be legit contenders at least, playoff potential teams this season. Coin flip. But then I was like, what makes the Buccaneers so magical this season compared to the Seahawks? It's Baker magic, man. How do you bet against Baker Mayfield? The dude who fumbles on his own without anyone even touching him. He's still Baker Mayfield. Give me the Buccaneers over the Seahawks. I'll save the last. You can go next.
You didn't do or let's see. So you did Bills, Patriots.
I've got Commanders and Chargers and Chiefs and Jags left.
Did you do Cardinals and Titans?
And Cardinals and Titans left.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll save those 3.
Okay, so coming in with the Lions and the Bengals game, easy choice. Lions. The Bengals are struggling so bad with the absence of Joe Burrow. Like, it's crazy to think that you can have a team that's got players like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown struggling just with the absence of Joe Burrow. So I had to pick Lions. Lions are too good. Lions are too hot. Bengals are too bad. Bengals are too cold. Lions. Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. This was always one of my least favorite games of the year. Always. Especially when Tom Brady was on the Patriots. It was like, oh, here we go. We're going to lose to Tom Brady. But this time, no, we're not going to lose. We're going to beat the Patriots. We're still leading the pack with the AFC East. Buffalo Bills all the way. However, I do think this is going to be a very close game. I think this is going to be a very good game. Drake May has really rose to the top. And, I spoke about this at the beginning of the year. Nobody wanted to believe me, but he has really proven to be that quarterback that they've been lacking in New England. So I really think this is going to be a good game, but I'm still picking the Bills. And then Seahawks and the Buccaneers. How do you bet against Baker Mayfield? You say the Seahawks are going to win and upset the Buccaneers. This is going to be a really close game. I think this is going to be a lot like the Cardinals and the Seahawks game. And the last couple games the Buccaneers have been really close. I don't think it's going to be a runaway, but I think that the Seahawks are going to rise up on this one and overthrow the Bucs.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So for the last 3 games from this elite level of production part, I do apologize. The Titans and the Cardinals. Titans, like we said, the worst team in the NFL. The Cardinals are not. Give me the Cardinals over the Titans. The Titans may get a win this season, but it's not going to be against the Cardinals. The Commanders and the Chargers. The second hardest game for me to pick this week. Really thought about it, and I have to go with emotions on this one, and I have to go with mentality, and I have to go with the level of drive that this Commanders team is going to have. Jaden Daniels is going to ride in on that shining horse. He's going to knock down Justin Herbert. No. Justin Herbert's already knocked down. He's struggling. The flowy blonde magician man himself, he just ain't looking like he's in his true form. This little magic he performed, he's going back to Justin Herbert things. He's going to struggle. The Commanders are mad. They're going to try to do everything for their starting quarterback, and they're going to beat the Chargers here. Last but not least, the Chiefs and the Jaguars. Listen, the Jaguars aren't a joke this season. The Chiefs are always a joke, but they're always good. But the Jaguars, they're just better. Give me the Jaguars. Etienne Jr., Trevor Lawrence magic, Sunshine himself. Kansas City Chiefs are coming off a win against the Ravens. So what? The Ravens suck right now. Give me the Jaguars. The Jaguars are having a year. They're going to keep having a year. And listen, Jacksonville Jaguars are going to the playoffs. They are going to the playoffs. It's their time. We're going to see that Clemson championship level performance out of Trevor Lawrence and Etienne Jr. The Magic's reuniting. They're finally finding their footing. And the Chiefs are just going down. Plain and simple.
Okay, for the last 3 games, Tennessee Titans and the Cardinals. I picked the Cardinals just for the simple fact that the Titans haven't done anything. Bless their heart. They're just, pulling up the rear bad. They're really aiming for that number 1 draft pick. But if they could win a game, I think it's a possibility this might be the one they could win. But I did have to choose the Cardinals. That's going to be a crazy game. Chargers and the Commanders. How can you pick the Commanders over the Chargers?
The Chargers just lost to the Giants.
That was at home.
And the Commanders almost beat the Falcons with Marcus Mariota.
Hey, he's a seasoned quarterback. Veteran quarterback, not some rookie. I got to go with the Chargers. Chargers are going to come back in, and they're going to be the Chargers again. Going to be hot. Omari and Hampton is on the rise. They've got a really good wide receiver core going on right now. Got a really good defense going right now. Washington's going to be like, whoa, what happened? We just got smoked by the Chargers. Chargers rising up to the top again. And then, lastly, the Monday Night Football game between Andy Reid and Liam Cohen. I got to go with the Jaguars, too. Jaguars are looking too good. You can't pick against them. The Chiefs have not showed me anything good enough to say, hey, I think they're going to win this game. They do have Xavier Worthy back, so that is a good, addition to their team. I will say, though, when Rashee Rice comes off of suspension like week 7, I think you're going to see the Chiefs' offense start to roll a little bit more. But until then, I'm not seeing it. Jaguars over the Chiefs.
So that is our week 5 predictions for the NFL. Because, just to duly note, in case you were not aware of it, did you know that this is the first bye week of the regular season? And that we have 4 teams on a bye week. One of those being the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Also the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers, and the Atlanta Falcons.
So that wraps up that segment. Now we'll move on to, if I can find it, there it is, NFL trivia. You don't have one? Okay.
Sorry, there was a car alarm going off. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't Toby's battery on his truck. My football trivia question for the week. Another good record question. It is, what NFL running back holds the record for the most rushing touchdowns in a single season with a total of 28 rushing touchdowns? What NFL running back holds the record for the most rushing touchdowns in a single season with a total of 28 rushing touchdowns? And I will give you a clue.
Okay.
You were 4 years old at the time. 2006.
I'm going to go with my historic remembrance of old Madden gameplay. I'm going to go with LaDainian Tomlinson.
Oh, I shouldn't have given you the clue. LaDainian Tomlinson is correct.
Hey!
He holds the record for the most rushing touchdowns in a single NFL season with 28 that he said in 2006 when he played for the San Diego Chargers. He also holds a record for the most total touchdowns, including passing and receiving by a non-quarterback in a single season with 31.
You know, if it hadn't have been for that, I was gonna say Walter Payton. So, good question. That was really good. That was good. Also a very good hint, but good both. So, this is another tough one. This one's really difficult, and I can't give you multiple choice on this one. I'll say if you're able to get half of these right, that's pretty good. If you're able to get half. This feat has not happened often in the NFL, but it has happened to the point where 8 teams have won back-to-back Super Bowls in NFL history. Can you name me those 8 teams?
Well, I can tell you one for a fact. It's the Dallas Cowboys because they beat the Buffalo Bills back-to-back. 8 teams? My gosh. Okay, I'm going to go Dallas Cowboys, Kansas City Chiefs,
2,
New England Patriots,
3.
Let's see. Pittsburgh Steelers.
That is 4.
San Francisco 49ers.
5.
I don't know that I can do anymore.
3 left. Can't believe
Green
he's
Bay Packers.
6. Can't believe he's missing one of these. This is kind of shade at this point.
Philadelphia Eagles.
No! 6 of 8. That's pretty good. The other 2 are the Miami Dolphins and the Denver Broncos. How are we throwing shade on the Broncos? The absolute disrespect right now. It's crazy. So to round this up, NFL fun fact. Always got to do a fun fact. The only left-handed quarterback in the Pro Football Hall of Fame is Steve Young.
Whoa.
Ain't that crazy?
Wow.
So if you're a lefty, chances are you're not going to end up in the Hall of Fame, I guess. Ain't that wild? I surely thought Michael Vick would have been. I guess he never was in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So anyways, wow, I can't believe we got all of that in under an hour. That's wild. Close, but any thoughts? Any parting thoughts?
Let's see. Game of the week. I asked for this a couple weeks ago, and nobody hardly commented. We had a couple people. But, tell us in the comments who you think is going to win between the Chiefs and the Jaguars. We'd love to hear your feedback. Love to hear your opinion. Obviously, it's one of the games of the week, and let us know.
Absolutely, let us know. In college football terms, I always like to mention college football. Tennessee is on a bye week this week, so no one else is important. No, I'm just kidding. It's always going to be a fun weekend, but Tennessee is on a bye week, and then they come back to next week to play the Arkansas Razorbacks. So I'm sure that will be a good game in Neyland Stadium. It's always a good game. They're coming off that overtime victory against Mississippi State. I might post my reaction to that game in this video. We'll find out. But anyways, you guys know what we're here for. We're at the end of the segment. So what that means is if you know anyone that likes football as much as you do, argues about football as much as you do, or even hates football, but wants to enjoy listening to people talk about things that they don't really know about, consider asking them to subscribe. It's totally free. It takes half a second. 99% of people hear you say subscribe and then don't do anything about it. So you could be that 1% difference that gives us subscribers, because that boosts our videos and it boosts our reels and it boosts everything to more people that enjoy our content just like you do. Even if it's just your grandmother or someone who doesn't know anything, get on their phone, just click subscribe and then give them their phone back. You don't have to tell them what you took it for. But anyways, that does wrap up episode 7. As always, the Google form is down below in the YouTube link. If you want to ask us questions, we will talk about anything. We will give you a shout out. We'll talk to your name. We'll talk to anyone you want to talk to. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, enjoy. God bless. And we'll see you next week for episode 8 of the podcast.